Welcome back to the Fit40 Podcast, where we simplify exercise and nutrition for busy people over 40 so they can improve their health and feel amazing. I'm your host, Brian Fitzsimmons, certified personal trainer and nutrition coach for people over 40 since 2015. And today we have an awesome topic. Now, if you've been listening to the past couple of episodes, I have mentioned my co-pilot, my new dog, my new puppy, Bernedoodle, named Teddy. And he's awesome. He's come such a long way in his training. And I've noticed during that time, I'm like, there's some similarities here. And I'm like, why don't I just make a podcast about it? So if anybody listening has ever trained a dog or just wants to learn just basic behavior change principles, then let's do a podcast about that. Because at the end of the day, it's all about behavior change. And there are similarities in how we do it with humans and animals and anything else you could possibly think of that has behaviors. Okay, so let's talk about it. But before we do, go ahead and hit that subscribe or follow wherever you're watching or listening so that way you do not miss another episode. All right, so let's get into it. So what are these things that we can learn from dog training? Okay, or I'll just go through what I have noticed. So number one is not like with a puppy, one of the big things that a lot of people do in the beginning that I was told not to do, and it's definitely paid off, is giving them too much space, too many options, too much freedom right away. And this is very common when people jump into like dieting or like exercise where they're like, there's no real concrete plan. It's, I'm just going to do one or two of these things and I'm just going to let loose. Okay. Now, when I say like making a plan and understanding what that space looks like, what I want to bring home is the fact that you want to make sure that you have everything dialed in as much as you possibly can. So kind of like a dog in their crate or their playpen, like you have this box you can operate in. And for a lot of people, that looks like making some sample meals, like already planning them out, not just saying, okay, I'm going to cut out sugar. And then when that first meal hits, it's like, oh crap, what do I do? Okay, take it that step further and say, you know what? I am going to have for breakfast, I'm going to have this protein shake and this piece of fruit or eggs and toast or whatever. For lunch, I'm going to do a salad. And if I don't have access to that, I'll do this sandwich. And then for dinner time, I'm going to do my normal protein and starch and veggie, and I'm okay with that. So I know my options there. Because honestly, when we talk about dinner time, everybody kind of has a good idea in their head of what they want to do based on what they got in their fridge. It's usually breakfast and lunch. So if you can do just one thing to make sure that you don't have too much space, too many options to the point where you have to fall back on old patterns because you don't have a plan, or you just drive the decision fatigue through the roof to where you can't make good decisions, make sure that you get breakfast and lunch down and planned and prepared and ready to go. So if you can plan it, awesome. If you can prepare it like through meal prep, even better. Okay. Because like I wanted to get into, which is that we don't want to fall back onto old patterns, like I just said. Okay. Because when you don't have a plan, that's what ends up happening. It's like, okay, what have I always done that's gotten me what I want in the moment, which is food, which is energy, which is that taste on your taste buds. Okay. We fall back into the things we used to do. So we have to make sure that we don't have the ability to do that. Okay. And that is pretty much that on space and options. Because I know with Teddy, he is pro now in the crate and it's paid off big time as he's chewing the table. Okay. Next is to celebrate the reward celebrate or reward the wins. Now, it's so easy to get caught up in the negative, what we're not doing. And if you've ever seen somebody only punish their dog, it creates a very anxious dog. It creates a very like people pleasing type of dog where it's like they're always trying to not get that punishment. And it's the same in humans. We end up saying, okay, we suck at this. Like I hate where I'm at. You're lazy, you're dumb, whatever. And then that changes it in the moment. And then you do the thing, but it never quite sticks. Or if you have a trainer or somebody like that, and they're always saying, you're not doing this right. Come on. You're not there yet. You're not there yet. And there's no positivity there. Then you're basically just trying to please them so that they stop berating you. And what that does is that it will change the behavior in the moment. Like obviously nobody wants to get punished. So we stop doing the thing that's causing that. But then we keep falling back into that old thing because we're like, but we still kind of want to do that. Now, when you flip that and reward it, that's where things start to change, because negative, like punishment, changes the behavior in the moment, but positive reinforcement locks it in for life. Because what we want to do as humans, and even the dogs too, they want to run towards something positive. We want to do things that make us feel good. That's why we eat these things that taste so delicious. It's why we do certain things that are for pleasure, because we enjoy doing the stuff that we get to be rewarded for. So, what exactly does that look like when it comes to like you? Well, it could be you make yourself do something like a workout or eating a specific meal that you had prepped instead of ordering something else. And you reward yourself with something that is not counterintuitive to the goal. So it's like you don't want to be that person that goes to their Orange Theory class for the first time in forever. And they're like, okay, I'm going to reward myself with a 500-calorie coffee from Starbucks. Okay. We're not talking about that. I'm saying let's find a reward that's fulfilling, that doesn't go against your goals. So, like, for example, let's say you got that workout in, you get to now watch that movie that you've been putting off because you've put everything else in front of your own enjoyment. Now you have the ability and you give yourself the permission to be like, you know what? I get to do something for me that I truly enjoy, like watching a movie or reading a book. Or it could be a simple reward to get back to what you actually want to be doing. So, like, for me, for example, I will say, okay, as soon as I get this workout in, I could get back to work and do that thing that I want to do right now, even though I know I need to work out first. So it could work in that way as well. Okay. And next we have, what do we got? Sorry, Teddy wants to be very involved in this podcast. He keeps getting, getting me to break my focus here. Okay. Next is pushing through the hard points. Okay. Now, when we were crate training in the beginning, Teddy was whining, he was crying, he was doing all the things that dogs do to try and get out of the crate. Now, anybody who's ever crate trained a dog before knows this sucks. It really does. Like, you feel terrible for them. But in Teddy's case, he was pretty much over it by night 2. Okay, the first night was brutal. He was fidgeting, like moving around and stuff, but he had to learn the art of being still. He had to learn that, hey, in here, I'm not getting out. Might as well just enjoy the space, play with my toys, and maybe take a nap here and there. And he learned how to do that. And now he even does it during the personal training sessions. Like, anybody who's here with me in person and even over Zoom, they'll see Teddy. And before we have our session, I'm like, all right, Teddy, time to go to your room. And sometimes I got to put him in there, but he's getting better at going on his own and following the treats in there. And when he's in there, he plops down, takes a nap, and has a good time in there. And then at the end of the session, comes right out. And this is a learned behavior that he's getting better at. It's getting easier, but we got to push through those hard points of when it sucks. Now, this is very common when people lose motivation, because they have that inner toddler inside of their head whining, crying, being like, I don't want to wake up and get this workout in. I don't want to take the time to meal prep. And I'm not saying this to be mean or anything. I've had this same annoying ass voice in my head, but you need to learn the skill of doing things when you don't want to. Now, people call this discipline, and you can call it that. It basically is. But at the end of the day, it's the skill of being able to play that mental game of, man, I really don't want to do this, but you find a way to do it anyway. I know for me, basically that second I catch myself starting to bargain and say, okay, I don't have to do it right now. I'll do it then. And the second I get into that headspace of I'm starting to make excuses, I'm starting to bargain, then I cut it right there, or I'll even keep doing it, but I'm still walking towards whatever needs to be done. I'm still making myself physically do the thing, even though mentally I'm still up here in that bargaining space where it's like, okay, I'm having this conversation, but I'm still doing the warm up. Okay, I'm having this conversation, but I just turned the stove on, or I just started heating the pan up, because I'm still doing the thing, even though I'm having these thoughts. Because you can disassociate. You can get yourself to a place where you can think all these thoughts, but then the actions are different. So that is a skill. And it takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of presence and mindfulness. So just know you need to give yourself the space to do this, because if you are so stressed and overwhelmed that you have no more room on your plate to give yourself that mindful moment, then it's just not going to work. So you got to figure out a way to carve some time out for you and carve some mental space out for you to really go through that and understand what that takes and what your thing is, because it's different for everybody. I know for me, because I did bodybuilding, I got into that machine mindset where I'm like, I just got to do what I got to do. And it's very mechanical, robotic, like I just do the thing. And that works for me. But other people need a little coercing. And I've needed this too at certain points where it's like, yeah, I'll reward myself, like I was just talking about, as long as I do this thing. And that can help push through these hard points where you're making every excuse in the book and you're like, but as long as I do that, I get this. And that could play so well. And there's multiple different ways to do it. You kind of just have to sit in the suck and make yourself do it and figure out, what does that look like? Because you could just trial and error it and it could work out really well. This is where sometimes asking other people what they've done can pay off. I mean, a lot of times you ask somebody, what did you do to lose the weight or whatever? And they give you a horrible answer. But if you ask them specific skills, it's like, oh, how do you make yourself do it when you don't want to? And if you can get an answer that isn't, oh, I just make myself do it. If you can get something deeper than that, then you can get some really good ideas. So poke and prod and ask people that you've seen do an awesome transformation or live a really fit lifestyle, and ask them, like, how do you make yourself do it? Like, what's your thing? If you don't already kind of have an idea of what to do. And then next is and last and most importantly is patience and expectations. So expecting yourself to be perfect with your diet, with your exercise, with whatever it is on day one is like adopting a dog and expecting them to be perfect on day one. It just doesn't happen. We have these preset behaviors. We have these preset things that we do in our lives that have just been that way for years and years and years and years. So to expect us to just turn it on its head because we decided to that day, it's just not going to happen. Okay, it's not realistic. It's not going to happen. So let's get that out of our heads and let's stop beating ourselves up over it. Okay, because at the end of the day, you wouldn't beat your dog up because they weren't perfect on day one. At least I hope not. If you do, stop listening to my podcast. I don't like you. Okay. But if you are the type of person who is kind to their dog or even kind to other people, and you would never say it to your best friend, don't say it to yourself. Okay. Give yourself some grace. Understand that this is a learning process. Behavior change takes time. It takes trial and error. You will mess up because you got to learn what you need to fix. You don't know what you don't know at certain points. So put in the work. Don't wait to be perfect. Don't put it off until you think you can nail it perfectly. Get dirty. Figure it out. And then when you do that, you find the areas of improvement. Like I know for Teddy, when we were doing sit and stay, I pushed a little bit too fast into the stay part. So we really hammered sit until it's automatic, as he's losing his mind over there right now. But he got sit down so much better and it became automatic. And then when I went to go do sit and stay again, stay was so much easier. So sometimes it comes down to just hammering those basic things first before you move on to that next thing. Make sure that you're doing this at your pace, at the right pace, because that will get you the best results and the quickest results. Because if you keep trying to do too fast, too soon, you're just going to keep starting over at square one over and over and over again. Or that other version of yourself who said, you know what, I'm not going to move on to step 2 until I nail step 1. Then after that, they go from step 2 to step 3, from 3 to 4. Okay, that person, that version of you is going to be so much further ahead. So if that means, okay, I'm just going to start with exercise right now, then that means, hey, we're just doing exercise right now until we can do that consistently and not really have to put a ton of mental energy into getting that done. Then it's like, okay, we're moving, we're active. This is great. We're going to add in a little bit of protein. So I'm going to try and hit, say, a serving of protein at every single meal. Great. And then you do that. And then you say, okay, I'm going to do some veggies and do it that way. And that will get you so much further, so much faster. Okay. And then when we're talking about expectations, that's the name of the game, because when there's a theory that emotion is basically the interruption of expectations. So if you expect yourself to do all these great things and then come up short, you're going to feel like shit. But if you end up if you put the bar a little bit lower and you're like, all right, I should expect to get at least this much, and then you blow it out of the water, you feel amazing. So you can take that and either one, set that bar a little bit low and then crush that bar, like jump well over it, or set it in the middle and keep yourself not too high, not too low, and just be like, all right, I'm in it. I'm good. I'm good. But fair warning, that will get boring, and you could get to the place where you can embrace that boredom. And honestly, everybody eventually will, but that's a topic for a different day. And honestly, that's a discussion for way down the line. I've been having it with a couple of clients lately where it's like boredom's good. That means that you don't have to really focus that hard to get the job done. But when we're talking about expectations, number one, first thing I had on here was fat loss. Okay. Fat loss, we want to aim when it comes to weight. Okay. Fat and weight are different, but weight loss is roughly about half a pound to 2 pounds per week. So if you're looking at the whole month, that's 4 to 8 pounds on average if you're staying in a calorie deficit. Now, you could lose more or less depending on your exercise habits, making sure we're holding on to lean mass and all that good stuff. So even though you're like quote unquote only losing 2 pounds, maybe you lost 4 or 6 of fat and you put on 2 or 4 of muscle. So you want to keep that in mind when you're setting these expectations, because sometimes losing 2 pounds a month in the beginning is the best case scenario because you're burning fat and building muscle at the same time. You're just not seeing that additional fat loss show up on the scale. And then when we're talking muscle gain, around 1 to 4 pounds per month is ideal. Notice, to build muscle, you got to gain weight. And if you caught my last couple episodes last week, okay, it always helps if your goal is muscle gain to keep measurements, especially around the waist, because if your waist, and I would even take the neck as well, if your neck and waist are not increasing in size, but you're gaining pounds, then you could safely assume that's muscle. So if you gain that 1 to 4 a month, you're right on track. And last, I have your dream body, okay? Because why are we focusing on fat loss, muscle gain, or whatever these things are? Or like, why are we focusing on being able to do these things and be more independent with our bodies? We have this dream body in our head, not just a look. This is not dream body like how we look in a picture or whatever. Maybe it is, but I want to go deeper than that. That dream body does things right now physically that you can't do. It feels substantially better than you do right now. Okay. You are able to live this life without having any hesitation on your physical capabilities, your health, any of this stuff, because this is your dream body. That body takes years. Okay. The key is that we're moving closer and closer towards it, not that we're not there yet. So are you on the right trajectory? Are you getting to a place body composition wise where you are healthier, where you have more muscle, maybe less body fat, depending on which direction you got to go? Are you moving in that direction? Are you doing better in your workouts? Are you getting stronger? Are you able to do more reps, more weight, more sets? Are you doing your cardio in a way where you're able to put out more effort without your heart rate going sky high? Okay. Or are you able to maintain that sky high heart rate and then bring it back down without in a reasonable amount of time? Like, are we doing these things where we're seeing substantial benefits and adaptation? And if you're seeing that, you're on the right path, and that dream body will happen and you will be able to maintain it as long as you do these behaviors and fall in love with them and don't go too fast. Okay. And kind of like a dream dog, like walking off leash, well mannered, not slobbering all over your friends and family when they come home. Like, it's basically the same concept. Just keep doing the basic things that change your behaviors in the way that line up with that dream body, and you will get there. All right. Now, I know I threw a lot at you. I'm always basically putting you in a position where trying to drink from a fire hose, and I get it, but that's why I do coaching, because I break it down into bite-sized pieces and give it to you as needed. So it's literally just do this. So if you want to see what that's like, if you want to chat about it a little bit, your goals and what the timeline's like and what's required, then go ahead. The link's down below. Set up a quick 10-minute discovery call with me. We'll chat. And worst case scenario, it's not right for you. I got friends in the industry I'm happy to refer you to, so you have a direction to go in. And if it is right for you, this could literally change your life. All right. So go ahead and click that. And if you haven't already, go ahead and grab your Fit40 starter kit. It's got everything you need. It's a free resource, workouts, nutrition, the whole shebang. Give that a look through because it's super duper helpful if you haven't already. And that's it for today. All right. Thank you so much for listening in. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time. But until then, go kick some ass. Bye-bye.